All right, today we're going to talk about a tool that can honestly make or break a new company, the persona. It's the secret weapon for getting your whole team on the same page and making sure you're actually building something that people want to use.
So let me start with a question, one that really gets to the heart of a huge startup problem. Is every single person in your company, from R&D to sales, building for the exact same customer? If you hesitated even for a second, trust me, you are not alone. Let's dig into why this is so important.
And that question really leads us straight to a fundamental truth for all startups. You absolutely have to have focus. Because without that shared vision of who your customer is, even the most brilliant idea can get pulled in a million different directions and, well, eventually just fall apart. See, when you don't have that single, clear target, chaos is pretty much guaranteed. R&D thinks they're building for a tech expert, while design is creating for a total beginner. Sales is out there targeting one type of company, while your marketing is speaking a completely different language. Heck, even your finance and legal teams are making assumptions. And the result? You get a product that tries to be for everybody, which means it ends up being truly great for nobody.
And look, this lack of focus isn't just about being a little inefficient. For a new business, it's a direct threat. Every single one of those scattered efforts burns through cash and time, two things a startup just cannot afford to waste.
So how do you fix this, right? How do you get every single person rowing in the exact same direction? Well, the answer is you need to give your entire company a single guiding light.
And that solution is a really powerful tool called a persona. Now let's be crystal clear about this. This is not just some fluffy marketing term. It is a detailed, super specific profile of one single real person who represents your ideal first customer.
Just look at the difference here. It's night and day. On the left, you got this vague end-user profile. Some guy between 25 and 35. But on the right, you have a persona. We're not talking about a generic demographic anymore. We're talking about Ollie. He's 28, he's a pharmacist, he makes exactly 85 grand a year, and he literally daydreams about his next fishing trip while he's at his desk. All of a sudden, he's a real person, isn't he?
And this specific, real individual, your Ali, becomes the unwavering guide for your entire company. He is your North Star. He's that constant point of reference that makes sure you never, ever lose your way.
You see, this isn't just some marketing thing you do once. It is a tool for total organizational alignment. So the next time your team is debating a new feature or arguing over a marketing campaign, the question isn't subjective anymore. It's simple. What would Ali want? It just gives you this clear, customer-focused way to make decisions.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually create one of these? I mean, where do you find your Ali?
It's probably a more straightforward process than you think. We can break it down into 4 pretty manageable steps. First, you gather your data. Then you pick just one person. Then you create their detailed profile. And finally, you bring it all to life with a real interview.
So first up, you're going to pull together all the information you already have. We're talking about your market research, your general ideas about your end user. If you've already made some sales, look at your best customers. If you haven't, think about the people in your research who got the most excited. The ones whose eyes lit up because they instantly got what you were trying to do.
All right, next step. And this one is so important. You have to select one person from your list. And let me give you a huge piece of advice here. Do not fall into the trap of perfectionism. Don't get stuck in analysis paralysis, trying to find the 100% perfect person. Just make the best, most educated guess you can with your team, and then commit. Move forward.
Now for the fun part. It's time to create a one-page fact sheet that really brings this persona to life. Give them a real name, find a photo, and then fill in the details. Where were they born? What's their family like? What is their exact job title and salary? What do they love to do on the weekends? The goal here is to make them feel like a real, three-dimensional human being.
But here it is, the most critical part of the whole fact sheet, understanding their buying criteria. And you have to prioritize them, from number 1 on down. What is their single biggest driver? Is it a deep-seated fear, something that literally keeps them up at night? Is it an absolute need for reliability? Or maybe it's a desire to stand out from the crowd. Knowing this hierarchy, that is the key to everything.
And finally, step 4. This is where you actually go interview the real person you've chosen to be your persona. This is your chance to check your assumptions and fill in any blanks. Ask them big, open-ended questions. But don't just listen. Observe. Pay attention to the little things. Is their desk a total mess or perfectly organized? What kind of pictures do they have in their office? These tiny details can tell you so much.
Okay, so you've done all the work, you've built your persona.
The big question now is, how do you actually turn this document into better decisions day in and day out?
The first step is so simple, but it is so powerful. Print out that one-page fact sheet and put it up on the wall, somewhere prominent, where your entire team can see it every single day. This makes your persona a constant physical reminder of who you are all working for.
From this moment on, your persona becomes the tiebreaker for every major choice you make. Are you debating which feature to build next? Ask what your persona needs most. Trying to write a new marketing slogan? Ask what message will actually connect with them. Look, the persona doesn't give you all the answers, but it turns those subjective arguments into focused, customer-centric discussions.
You know, at the end of the day, it all boils down to a pretty simple equation. The deeper you understand your persona, their needs, their wants, their fears, the better your chances of success are going to be. It's really that simple. So as you go out and build your business, there's really only one question that should be guiding you above all the rest. Who is your North Star? Find them. Because when you do, you won't just find a customer, you'll find your path forward.